Okay, let's go through the required tools on this. You'll need a torque 20 driver. You can see there. You need a torque 10. I also have a torque 20 bit. A torque 10 bit. A ratchet screwdriver. Paper towels. Absolutely critical, a heat gun. Because when you're removing the heating pan, oftentimes it's going to be covered in ice. And you can't get the damaged one off without risking breaking other parts in there. So you got to get the ice off. This is critical. A putty knife. I got this at Home Depot. Notice the wide. You want a wide one and a nice metal one that can flex, not a plastic one. Nice metal one. This will make getting the EPS off so much easier. And you don't want to risk breaking that EPS. It'll be a catastrophe if you do that. A digital multimeter, because we'll need to take measurements on the existing heating pan and the replacement one to make sure that the resistance measurements are in line. A box cutter. This is cobalt. I got this one at Lowe's. Either way, at home, you don't want to skimp on that. You want this because you're going to have to cut a trough inside the EPS to route the wires on the new heating pan. And if this is a cheapie that with retractable blade and it sticks out a little bit, you're going to have a difficult time cutting. You want something that'll slice, get it the right depth, and make it easy and successful. Aluminum tape. Now you don't have to worry about having that. This comes with the kit for the heating pan, and that's actually that's from where I got these. And alcohol pads. They may come in use, and don't worry, the site usually has some. That's actually technically from where I got these also. Okay, these are the required tools. Now, there's some additional ones I want to point out. I carry with me thick mill plastic bags. I put the screws in from different sections of the machine in these bags. Keeps them separate, keeps them from rolling off, dropping off, and getting lost. And also, not required but very helpful, is I have a 90-degree extension. So that lets me put in torque 10 and get behind there with the ability to do a ratchet movement as opposed to using a one of these torques. Okay. Both come in handy, and I like having them. Okay, this is the new heating pan, and before using it, we do have to test resistance measurements on it because you don't want to put in a defective heating pan, and sometimes that happens. Okay, for this, you'll need to use your multimeter, set for ohms. And then you'll take your positive and negative probes. It doesn't matter into which one, but you see those. Okay, excellent. You want to go ahead and get one of the probes in one. Okay, and then look at the resistance measurement there. 6.1 ohms. Okay, study 6, you want it to be between 4 and 6. And this is good, okay? Okay, first task is going to be to remove the panels. And you can see here on this particular model, there's a top panel and the bottom one. Then on older units, it's all one piece. but removing them is the same. You have to remove these torque 20 screws that are on the outside. So I'm going to start doing that now. Now this screw here is said that you don't need to remove it. It's got a wider hole. In practice, the door will always catch on it. So I removed it just the same. Okay. I carry with me these thick mill plastic bags. I place the screws in them, secure it, and so no question where they are, no knocking them over. It saves a lot of time and grief. Easy. If, like in this case, staff has placed something on it, just take that off so it doesn't fall. And removing it is pretty easy. Just take it on the top. You don't want to put a lot of force on this white plastic here because it's held on by double-sided tape and it will come off if you press too hard on it. Also, when storing it, store it upside down, never on top of the plastic. This can break or it can just start coming off, which you don't want. Place it away from where it can catch anybody because those corners can rip close. And then for the bottom one, I always grab it from the rear. You can see that gap in here. And I grab it from the rear, and then I gently pull. I keep my foot underneath it because I don't want to slam on the floor. Okay? And there you see it. Okay? And then we'll repeat the process on the other side. The heater pan that is currently installed, we need to cut power. And that could be done by pulling out the power cord from this side or from the wall. I'll do from the wall. Okay. Now the unit is still running because it's on battery power. So for that, you need to pull out the 35 breaker. This is where the painter tarp is so handy. You lay it out and you have a nice place. Actually, you can see because I need you to put the good in there. Okay, I'm going to go in this. You see the 35 in there? That's the breaker. When I pull that, it's going to all shut off. Okay, so here's the 35 breaker. Oh, recording? Okay. And you need to pull that out, and that's easy enough done by just putting a finger underneath it. You see? And pushing forward to pull it out. Or if you can get two fingers on, even better. You see me, I pulled it out, and you can see it is extended. You also hear the machine has gone quiet. Okay, so now let's move forward. Okay, next thing we want to do is disconnect the defrost cable. So for that, we need to remove the foam. Okay, see me going here gentle. You don't want to damage anything. Pulling it right out. You can see now the circuit board in this Molex connector with the multicolors, red, yellow, blue. That you need to disconnect, and that's done by pushing down on this prong and then pulling out. But be gentle, okay? Okay, that's disconnected. Okay, we're gonna remove P23, and on this one, I like to use very small, fine needle nose. Okay, so I can grab the connector by both sides, not the wires, just the connector itself. There you go. Okay, so I got it off. And we're wanting to get to this very same cable that you see on the new one. Okay, in order to get to that, it'll be tucked in this side. Again, we remove the foam. And let's see here. Oh yeah. Now this plastic coil here, some at TruMed call that a snorkel. We need to open that up. I'm gonna go ahead and undo the snorkel enough to give me easy access. Because whoever did this one kind of wrapped the snorkel and to where the thermistor cable's right in the middle. Okay, well, no biggie. Okay, and now you can see that wire exposed, and it's got yellow and black wires that go inside it. That needs to be removed. Okay, and that again, be gentle. Okay, you caught that? Mm-hmm. Okay, and now that I have it, it's the same as doing the measurements that you saw me do previously. And so one prong in, the other. Okay, it's at 4.5 ohms, which is within tolerance. Okay, the next step we're going to do is to remove the front fascia, and that's held together by 3 screws. Torque 10 here, here, and a thumb screw at the bottom center that holds this in on the kick plate. So first one I'm going to do is remove the one that's in the bottom center of the kick plate. We want to open up the auxiliary drawer to get access to those 2 torque 10 screws. And there's 2 ways of doing that. If support can put up opening the auxiliary drawer from the screen, it's just a tap and it opens. If for any reason you can't, as long as the side panels or exterior panels are removed, you can open that manually, and you should know how to do it. You can see in here this black piece, okay, and you can use your torque 10 bit, place it in, lift it up, and pull out. That's one corner. Then holding it with one hand, you go to the other side, get that line just right, pop it up, and there. But as often is the case, there's vaccines in here, so don't leave it open very long. Now here, okay, you can see that torque 10. So get your bit on there. Okay. Lefty loosey that. You can see this is ready to come up. You don't have to remove the screw if you don't want to. It's going to be a pain to put it back. And then repeat the process to the other side. Turn it to the left. And now, you can see the valve comes right off. And you lift it up and out. And then make sure it's closed well. See here on this screen, and it's got all 4. Now you don't have to have that on the screen, but just when you push it in manually on the 4 sides, just master squeeze, make sure it's all the way in. And the reason you want to do that is because the ability of the machine to regulate the refrigerator is interrupted when this auxiliary drawer is open. So you want to keep it open behind the other panels because it's curved on the sides, and I don't want it to slide and get damaged. Keep it all in one nice place. And all this is done in coordination with TruMed support. This metal plate here is called the H bracket. And we have to take that off. And that is held by screws, one here at the bottom, left side, right side, and then if you look inside, you can see that there are 3 additional screws. They're torque 20, but that's why you need the extension. You won't be able to reach them otherwise. You need at least an 8-inch extension, and with that, you can start to remove that screw. Okay, comes off. And well, I like to get the bottom ones off too at this point. See that there? 3 down, 2 to go.